Hello! Today we're going to take a look at a great charting tool set available to you in SharePoint Online. We're going to be looking at a comparison between different charting options available for SharePoint Online. We'll talk about pricing, ease of use, and some of the options available to you. And I'm going to show you a path forward so that you can easily add charting into your SharePoint environment. So with that, let's get SharePoint Smart. Okay, so what we're going to do first is take a look at some of the options available to you for charting in SharePoint Online. Of course, SharePoint Online is part of the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, and as a part of that platform, Microsoft provides Power BI. That is their charting option. And we're going to talk about cost first of all, and also some alternatives to that. Power BI pricing is on a subscription basis. It is per user per month. Typically, what you're going to be using is their first level, which is the Power BI Pro per user license. This is $10 per user per month. Now, this is needed for the person who's developing a charting dashboard. So they're going to learn how to use this platform. It's very developer oriented, and then they're going to put together charts. Now, additional to that, you will be responsible to pay for a Power BI Pro license for every user viewing the charts as well. So you'll have to pay a license fee not only for your developer, but for every single user who's looking at those charts. As you can imagine, that can add up. There is an exception to that at a very large scale. If you're part of a big company, they do have a per capacity option, which is $5,000 per month. So multiplying that out, that is $60,000 per year. At least the organizations that I work with, that would be pretty exceptional. So that's probably, for most of you, not something that you're taking a look at. If we scroll down the page, we'll just take a look at some of the information that they show. Just to confirm your understanding, make sure you have a crystal clear picture of what the pricing is going to be if you do elect to use Power BI for your environment. And so a key thing here is you see the part about consume content without a license. Notice that that is not possible unless they have a license. So that's a really key thing for you to understand as we begin to analyze the cost. Of course, if you get that $60,000 per year option, then of course at that point they say, okay, well then everyone can view those charts. So in a certain sense, you could say that the costs don't differentiate between the people who are developers building your charts and the people who are viewing. Now, as you would imagine, people might try to work around and take an image and publish it out, things like that. But in general, this is how their pricing model works. This is easy to look up. You can get to the same page I'm looking at. This is just the standard Power BI pricing page. A competitor to Power BI is another option called Tableau. That is outside of SharePoint. I wanted to show this to you real quick because it offers many similar options and capabilities. Also, generally a developer-oriented tool. You're going to pay a monthly charge. Now in this case, they have a higher cost for your developer. This is called a Tableau creator. And then for the people who are viewing, by comparison, it's less expensive. But still, in combination, you can see that this would add up to a very large charge. If you're watching this video, it's likely you're looking for a more affordable alternative. You'd like to do charts, but It's not something where you're looking to spend many hundreds of dollars per month or even thousands of dollars per month over a period of time. And so that begs the question, what is the alternative? The next thing I want to look at with you is SharePoint Dashboards, and that of course is a big focus for this video. What is SharePoint Dashboards? This is a SharePoint list and column formatting tool set that allows you to do formatting and visualize data in SharePoint Online. And this licensing model is distinctly different than Power BI and Tableau. In this case, you only have to pay for licenses for users who are creating charts. Your other users who are viewing the charts, there is no subscription required at all. Furthermore, the pricing for this is quite reasonable. If you get a single license for a single person creating charts, the cost is $29 per month. If you want to have, say, a couple of users, then each of those users would pay $22 per month. And you can see that directly at the SharePointDashboards.com site. And this tool does provide 22 different unique charting templates for you to chart your SharePoint data. Let's just look at a chart that I created using the SharePoint Dashboards charting template tools to further illustrate what a massive difference there is in terms of your costs for charting according to the option that you choose. So this is a grouped column chart. You can see in the first column I have 1 developer, 10 users. That would be a monthly cost of $29 for SharePointDashboards.com. Your monthly cost with Power BI would be 10 times $10 a month, so $100 per month in that case, $1,200 per year. And then as you have more people in your organization that you want to facilitate to view those charts, the costs stack up. So you can see in the second column, if it was for 20 people, it goes up and up and up, and you can find where your organization would be on this chart. But obviously you can see that the orange bars for Power BI are quite large. You have very significant monthly costs in order to use that platform and allow people to see those charting dashboards that you're wanting to put together. So there is a substantial cost difference. Okay, I think we've covered cost in depth, and I think it should be pretty clear to you what a huge difference there are. So let's next talk about ease of use. What does it take to use these tools? Now, I'm not going to dive into the functionality of Power BI. There's plenty of videos out there if you're learning that platform, but I will tell you that it is a very developer-oriented platform. As a SharePoint consultant, I work with many organizations, and this is typically a role. You will have a developer who's dedicated to that role of building and working on Power BI dashboards. It's likely in your organization or in many organizations, they don't have a dedicated developer, somebody available to spend the time and money to learn the technical skills to become proficient at using the Power BI platform. Let's look at what it takes to use the SharePoint Dashboards platform. So let's go to the SharePoint Dashboards site. When you go to this site, this is SharePointDashboards.com. It will be linked below the video. Just go ahead and first you can view a slideshow. It shows you some different examples of templates. Click Get Started, and then there is the templates gallery, which shows you card previews of all kinds of different templates you can do. In fact, there are more than 100 templates available, all as a part of the monthly subscription that I mentioned. As of this time, there are 22 charting templates, and you see a preview which helps you understand those different types of templates, and that's right at the top of the gallery page when you first arrive. So you can scroll through and you can preview any of these templates by simply clicking on the diagram, and it will take you to a preview screen. So for example, I can go to the bubble chart, and you're going to see an animated movie when you first arrive. You can click Stop Preview, and then it will give you a preview screen that helps you understand what's on that charting page. In all of these templates, you build everything on one screen. So I can adjust configuration options and do whatever I want. And what I really like about that is it's what I would call what you see is what you get. Meaning whatever I put together in my configuration, I'm going to immediately see that as a tweak setting. So I just changed the height, boom, my chart has a different height. Now I want a different background. If I go down to the control for the background gradient, I can switch that, and immediately I see the change and update in my chart. If I want to do things like update the title or the key, that's going to immediately change. So I type sales updates, and that immediately changes. And the great part about this is to get this template into SharePoint, I only ever have to do this step. I click on copy, and it will give me some instructions. It'll tell me exactly what to do. It's just a 3-step process here. It tells me right where to click, say OK, and then I can go back into SharePoint, and I can go to format the view, and all I have to do is paste in the code, and that will set up my chart template. So it's very easy to use. Really, it's just something where you can adjust the configuration settings and tweak that until you get it exactly how you want, and it's just a simple matter of copy and paste. That brings up another great advantage of this tool. You do not need to use a separate platform. You do not need to install any software at all. Everything that you do is through the SharePointDashboards.com website. You'll log into the site, at which point you can configure your code, and then you can paste that into your SharePoint site. So all I had to do is paste that there, and then you're all set. And then I can make adjustments as needed. So with many third-party tools as it relates to SharePoint, you would have to install an app. You may have security concerns. There may be issues where it has to connect to an outside data source, something of that nature. That can be a bit of a hassle and a headache, or it may be a risk. It may be something where you don't want to expose your data outside of SharePoint. That is completely a non-factor with SharePoint Dashboards, because these are just formatting templates that you're applying to your SharePoint site. So let's review some of those charting options. One thing that's great, even before you have signed up for a subscription, which is extremely inexpensive, it's pay as you go, so you could always sign up for the initial subscription and begin to use the tool. If you're not satisfied for whatever reason, you can just stop. You don't have to make a major decision or investment to get started with this. You can quickly find out what it's all about. So you can browse through here and just find whatever kind of template applies to your situation. So we'll go into some of those right now. And as I mentioned, every time you get to the screen, it's first going to show you a preview to help you understand what kind of template that is, what kind of options are available, that type of thing. One thing I always encourage when you're first getting the tool is check out the different theme options. There's a drop down at the top of the window, and this is pre-configured settings that quickly give you an idea of some different possibilities. You can get, a distinctly different look. This is just really good to help you generate ideas in terms of what you can do. Of course, you have full control over all the colors and settings according to whatever you want. There may be a particular branding, there may be a particular thing that you want in your SharePoint environment. Every single aspect of this can be tweaked and configured precisely to whatever your preferences are. And like I say, it's a situation where it's what you see is what you get, meaning whatever it is that I see in this preview screen, when I paste that over into SharePoint, it's going to look exactly like that. And I'll show you, in fact, I'll go back over to SharePoint, and this is my SharePoint Online environment, and you can see that I've got all these different charts set up in SharePoint lists, and it looks just like it does in the SharePoint Dashboard site. A really popular and common one that a lot of people like is a Gantt chart, where I'm showing calendar data, the start and end of projects, for example. And it can be as many rows as you need. So all of the different aspects, both of the look and feel, the colors and backgrounds and things like that, but then also things like the font size, the chart title, all those different things, that's all configurable. So it's quite extensive in terms of all the different possibilities of different things you can do. And this merely is a matter of going to your View formatting option and paste. That's all you have to do is copy and paste, and you're all set. At that point, you can show this chart on a SharePoint page by simply using the modern web part, the list web part. You just select that view, and then your users can see that as well. And as I mentioned, there are 22 different charting options, likely every different kind of charting option that you've worked with. So you've got bar charts, stacked bar charts, line charts, all kinds of different things. There's probably some things that you've never worked with before, and those are interesting. It makes for opportunities for you to have visually interesting data to provide for your users. And generally those are things that people really like and they get excited about. Here's an example of a pyramid chart where you may have hierarchical data. So this could be something that might be more visually appealing, say, than a pie chart, which is very common. If I go to the pie chart, or we could even do like a donut chart, which is basically the same thing. But you can set these up however you want, and like I say, just browse through your different theme options. So this really addresses some important factors as it relates to charting in SharePoint Online. The first is cost. There is a massive difference between what your organization would have to pay to use this charting solution, which is comprehensive, compared to alternatives like Power BI or Tableau. The out-of-the-box SharePoint charting options are very minimal. There is a pie chart and I believe a simple bar chart with almost no configuration options. So that's really not going to get you far at all. Outside of that, you may often use Excel charting, and that's going to involve a lot of extra steps because, of course, the Excel charting is doing configuration Excel. That's a bit of an old way of doing things, a bit of a workaround, as opposed to what I'm showing, where you're setting up charting options directly in SharePoint. All right. So what we did is look at a comparison of what's available to you in SharePoint Online for charting. As you can tell, it is a bit shocking, the cost that's involved if you want to tap into what Microsoft provides with Power BI. It's a large investment, and you are on the hook for a monthly fee, not only for your person building charts, but for every user who is going to view that chart. For many of you, that may be a bit surprising, but it is absolutely true, and you can find that out by looking at the pricing page for Power BI. And also, as we saw with other alternative options like Tableau, it's the same type of setup. With the SharePoint Dashboards option, it's extremely affordable and easy to get started. You only need to sign up for a subscription for your user who's going to be building charts. That likely is you. And you can get started right away, and it is simple pay-as-you-go pricing. As a part of that, we do provide support, and you can just send an email and you can get help if you're jammed with that. Additionally, there are informational tutorial videos included as a part of the site that will demonstrate those different charting options. Not to mention the fact that outside of the 22 charting templates, there are an additional roughly 80 or more templates for doing other formatting with your SharePoint information. So it's really packed with a lot of features and additional functionality that you get automatically in addition to what you want to do with the charting. So I hope that you found that information helpful. This is really a great opportunity for those of you who want to tap into charting but do not want to spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars investment just to set up this charting capability in SharePoint. And also for those of you who are looking for an easy to use charting template option where you can go ahead and get your charts out there quickly without having to do a lot of training or having to have a dedicated developer building up those charts because there's a lot of extra steps and complexity. I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, post comments below the video and I'll be glad to get back. And check the links below the video, which will link you over to this tool where you can go ahead and get started. And I also want to mention, additional to the charts, there are 20 free templates which you can get if you just sign up for the free version today. Thank you very much. Hope you found that useful.